Last night, Elon Musk and the XAI team launched and demoed Grok 3, arguably now the best AI in the world, and one that no other company can ever catch up to. Why? Well, not only does XAI have the largest supercomputer in the world, with now 200,000 H100 equivalent compute power, but they built that in record speed in 92 days, and they're already building the next one that'll be 5 times more powerful. It's very unlikely at this point that any other company can ever catch up, ever. What does this mean for Tesla? Make no mistake, this is a big deal. They gave a sneak peek at the upcoming voice mode. This will allow you to speak with your cars and soon the bots also. Grok 3 is so powerful, it can now reason and mimic human thinking. Tesla now has the best AI in the world, the best self-driving system in the world, the best humanoid robot in the world, and more importantly, the best speed of innovation in the world. We've got Hans Nelson here with us, and he's going to explain exactly what's going on. What is this Grok 3? How does it help and benefit Tesla? And he actually had an exchange with Elon last night. We'll show you what, very profound, by the way, Hans, what Elon is saying based on your post that you made last night. Thank you, Hans.
Thanks for having me, Herbert. This is definitely a big day, and I can't wait to get into the details.
Yeah, this is so big, and I just don't know if people are really grokking how important this is last night. So let's just set the stage here. Elon and his XAI team presented last night Grok 3. They launched it. You can play with it right now. So if you're an X account and you're Premium Plus, you can download and play with Grok 3 at this point. It will be available on the app by itself and on the website, grok.com. And they did a kind of like a 45-minute, 1-hour demo of the tool. The slide here at the back, I wanted to start with that. How quickly you can see here that Grok started just at 2023, and it was just skyrocketed to the top. And there was a reason why, right? It's because of the largest supercomputer. Every other LLM is built on smaller compute power. And of course, there's a lot of other things around that as well. So let's go and play a clip here of what happened last night.
Of last year, Elon decided that really the only way for XAI to succeed, for XAI to build the best AI out there, is to build our own data center. We didn't have a lot of time for that because we wanted to give you Grok 3 as quickly as possible. So really, we realized we have to build the data center in about 4 months. And it turned out it took us 122 days to get the first 100K GPUs up and running. And that was a monumental effort to be able to do that. We believe it's the biggest fully connected H100 cluster of its kind. And we didn't just stop there. We actually decided that we need to double the size of the cluster pretty much immediately if we want to build the kind of AI that we want to build. So we then had another phase, which we haven't talked about publicly yet. So this is the first time that we're talking about this, where we doubled the capacity of the data center yet again. And that one only took us 92 days. We've been able to use all of these GPUs, use all of this compute to improve Grok in the meantime. And basically today we're going to present you the results of that, the fruits that came from that.
So all the paths, all the roads leads to Grok 3. 10x more compute.
More than 10x, really.
Yeah, really.
Maybe 15x-ish.
Yep, compared to our previous generation model. And Grok 3 finished the pre-training early January. And we started, the model is still currently training, actually. This is a little preview of our benchmark numbers. So we evaluated Grok 3 on 3 different categories: on general mathematical reasoning, on general knowledge about STEM and science, and then also on computer science, coding. AIME, American Invitational Math Examination, hosted once a year. And if we evaluate the model performance, we can see that the Grok 3 across the board is in a league of its own. Even its little brother, Grok 3 Mini, is reaching the frontier across all the other competitors. You would say at this point, all these benchmarks, you're just evaluating the memorization of the textbooks, memorization of the GitHub repos. How about the real-time usefulness? How about we actually use those models in our product? What we did instead is we actually kicked off a blind test of our Grok 3 model, codenamed Chocolate. It's pretty hot.
Yeah, hot chocolate.
And been running on this platform called Chatbot Arena for 2 weeks. I think the entire X platform at some point speculated this might be the next generation of AI coming our way. How this Chatbot Arena works is that it strips away the entire product surface, right? It's just raw comparison of the engine of those AGIs, the language models themselves. and place an interface where the user will submit one single query, and you get to show two responses. You don't know which model they come from, and in the end, you make the vote. So in this blind test, Grok 3, an early version of Grok 3, already reached 1,400. No other models has reached an ELO score, head-to-head comparison to all the other models at this score. And it's not just one single category. It's 1,400 aggregated across all the categories in chatbot capabilities, instruction following, coding. So it's number one across the board in this blind test.
And it's still climbing, so we actually have to keep updating it. So it's 1,400, about 1,400 and climbing.
Yeah. In fact, we have a version of the model that we think is already much better than the one that we tested here.
Yeah.
We'll see how far it gets, but that's the one that we're working on, or talking about today.
Yeah, so actually one thing, if you're using Grok 3, I think you may notice improvements almost every day because we're continuously improving the model. So literally, even within 24 hours, you'll see improvements.
Yep. But we believe here at XAI, getting the best pre-training model is not enough. That's not enough to build the best AI. And the best AI need to think like a human. You need to contemplate about all the possible solutions, self-critique, verify all the solutions, backtrack, and also think from the first principle. That's a very important capability. So we believe that as we take the best pre-trained model and continue training it with reinforcement learning, it will elicit the additional reasoning capabilities that allows the model to become so much better and scale not just in the training time, but actually in the test time as well.
Oh, okay. Wow. So they did actually do some demos. Hans, can you explain what they said there and why this is possibly a really big deal?
So one of the things that this really shows is that we have tested for the first time since really GPT-4 whether or not scaling laws would hold. And scaling laws mean that, if you have a bigger unified compute cluster to do training with, that you can pre-train a better base model for the LLM. And this is kind of what we're going to get into. And it just shows that we are only at the beginning of what AI is going to be capable of. And it shows that XAI's team is in really an incredible position. Their ability to get this compute cluster up and running is insane. We've talked about that here on this channel. Like no other company, not OpenAI, not Microsoft, not Amazon, not Google. Google does have great training resources, but no one has managed to link together a training cluster of this size, at least not of NVIDIA hardware. So, the one dark horse is it is kind of hard to know what Google has been able to network with their custom TPUs, but they don't really share that data. Since it's a completely different architecture, it's hard to know what they have up their sleeve. But the results here kind of speak for themselves as far as the the evaluation scores on all these tests. And the important graph that you had there on the screen was, where it showed OpenAI and they had a slope that looked like this, which, that slope is the speed at which they're making their models better. And then you see Grok is just like rocketing up. And if XAI keeps up that speed and OpenAI doesn't significantly accelerate, they were in a comfortable enough spot that they felt like they had some room to really try and work on safety and work on trying to achieve some regulatory capture and, kind of mess around because they were ahead so far. And XAI has taken their slowness, and while no one else has been able to catch up to them, XAI has caught up and then some. We'll see once OpenAI is willing to fully release their O3 model and put it up against the Grok 3 in all of the LMSys benchmarks and all of these other. So some of these benchmarks that they're showing here, we do know that O3 has surpassed the scores that Grok 3 had. To the best of my knowledge, OpenAI's O3 has not been on that LMSys benchmark, but here, the mathematics benchmark, Well, and these are not the reasoning models. So these are just the pre-trained models. But an O3 is a reasoning model. So it would be maybe the next one. Yeah. So the O3 model does better on the American Math Invitational than this. And we also know it surpasses the Science GPQA test as well, just a little bit. And then we don't know on LMSys where it's going to rank. So it is possible that OpenAI, when they finally release that, will be on par, maybe a little bit ahead for a little bit, but that's still, Grok 3 is continuing to get better. They, like he said, they haven't even finished fully training the big base model. So the Grok 3 mini reasoning is done, but the Grok 3 reasoning beta is not done. And so there's also room for Grok 3 to improve in the same period of time that OpenAI is taking to release theirs. But then from there, like I said, the slopes of those lines are still holding, and XAI is getting better faster than OpenAI is getting. So they're still going to pass them, as by all indications. Sam Altman would have to pull a rabbit out of a hat to ever get past XAI in any meaningful way at this point in time. So it's just an incredible feat. And when you think about what this means for Tesla, once again, Elon Musk has done the impossible. He's got another company that just rockets to the forefront of a whole new industry, and AI is the core piece of what Tesla is building their company into. They want to be the leading company in real world AI. And so having XAI gives them, not only gives Elon and excuse me, gives Elon insight into how to build the best models, but there's also going to definitely be crossover that it is not likely that Tesla's going to want to build an in-house model that can talk to you in your Tesla. But Grok already is going to be that model, and there's going to be an easy integration from Grok into the car. And so your ability to interact with your car is going to be elevated by a partnership with Grok. Elon's already talked about the fact that this is coming to the car. So that's big. But then also the structure of how they are building AI in XAI helps to inform Tesla, like, what are some novel strategies that we need to pursue to continue to make FSD better? And oh, by the way, then there's also this huge training cluster that they're building, that when it's not training new Grok models, maybe there's some ability to use Colossus training capacity on top of what they have in Giga Austin at Cortex. So there's a lot of carryover between XAI and Tesla that's going to be beneficial over the long term to the accomplishment of the mission of Tesla, and then by extension to Tesla shareholders.
Thank you for explaining that. So just for a teaser, here at the very end of that demo, they shared what Grok's voice might sound like, because there's going to be a voice version of this, a voice mode. Let's listen to this.
Hey Grok, what's up?
Can you hear me? I'm so excited to finally meet you. I can't wait to chat and learn more about each other. I'll talk to you soon.
And apparently there is multiple voices that you can choose from. This is going to be very personalized. You can talk to your car, the car can talk to you, and it is the smartest AI in the world. Like, there's going to be these, they're going to test it a little bit. Like you're saying, maybe they're a little bit better, maybe they're not. But the thing that you cannot debate is who has the largest compute in the world. And right now, Elon and XAI, thank you for Amy explaining this, quietly doubled the Colossus data centers to 200,000 H100s in 92 days. The speed by which they did that. And by the way, they explained that they had to use megapacks, Tesla's megapacks, to kind of even out the power distribution. This was something that wasn't something that was easy to do. And it's hard to even there might be a few other teams that can copy this, but by the time they do, these guys are on to the next thing. This is the H100s. Look, it took them phase one 122 days to get the 100,000 GPUs up, and it took them 92 days to expand it to 200,000 GPUs. And Elon said that when they initially didn't want to do this themselves, but they when they got, when they asked all the big names out there, and they said them, a year and a half, 2 years to do something like this. So they decided to do it themselves. This is a big endeavor. So you sent this post out last night. Excuse me. You said Grok 3 is officially the best AI chatbot in the world. This is huge news. But here's where it gets interesting. XAI was able to do this by betting that scaling laws would hold. What does that mean? It means that if you have a bigger unified AI supercomputer to train with, you can create a smarter base AI system. So the bigger the compute, the smarter the system. And they've proven that. And now it's the race of who can build the biggest computers. This is terrifying for every other company and nation in the world working on frontier AI models, because XAI already has the world's biggest unified training cluster, and it's growing much faster than anyone can keep up with. It only took 4 months to build the 100,000. And before the 100,000, the largest was 30,000. So they tripled that world's best right there. And now they're already building the 200,000 that took them less than 33 months. This lead in training cluster size looks unassailable. Even Jensen Huang already said that Elon is his favorite customer. XAI will get first priority when NVIDIA starts shipping their next gen B200 GPUs. That's not all. XAI is also much faster at getting new GPUs added to their cluster once they've been received than any other company. So between this existing lead and their ability to acquire next-gen GPUs before competitors, and their lightning speed in putting those GPUs to work in training, how's anyone supposed to compete with XAI? Elon replied to you, and he said much more than scaling is happening. What do you think what Elon meant when it's just more? Scaling is obviously very, very important, but there's something more to it.
Yeah, I love this reply because in my mind, it validates that what I said in that thing is true, but it's only a part of the advantage that they have. And that is definitely from the outside should be true. There's a lot of things that we also see going on in AI right now that we have to assume that Elon and XAI are pursuing. So scaling is just one way that you can make better AI systems. There's also doing training more efficiently so that you actually get better results out of the same size of training cluster. There's the ability to do inference more efficiently and effectively. So this is, the DeepSeek R1 moment that, we've talked about here on this channel that happened last month. That was something that shook the world because it showed that we can get better results, that this Chinese company, DeepSeek, can achieve results that are almost as good as OpenAI's ChatGPT o1 with a fraction of the resources devoted to training and inference. And so we assume that XAI is doing something similar. So not only are they building much bigger clusters for training, but then they're also using that training more efficiently and effectively. So it's like a double win for them because they believe that more training compute is better, but they also want to get the absolute maximum that they can out of that compute. They don't want to use it inefficiently and waste money. So that's definitely something that we expect that they're doing in this case. But it also leaves the door open that they could be doing even more than that. It wouldn't surprise me if there are some innovations that we haven't really caught wind of yet. I mean, that is something that we've already seen them do with being able to network, this 100,000 and now 200,000 GPU cluster together as one solid brain when the biggest before was 30,000. It took a while for word about that specific breakthrough to get out into the wider tech community. And it's not impossible that there's something like that that allows them to be more efficient going on right now. And then the other thing that we know that they're probably doing, or not, we absolutely know based on what they talked about last night, that they're doing synthetic data generation. They're really focusing on these things like math evaluations and coding, where they can put the AI system, they can point it at problems that are verifiable, where you can check, does the code run? Do the math problems actually get solved correctly? And it can develop a process for solving a problem and thinking iteratively and, trying something. And then if it doesn't work, going back and finding where it made a mistake and then moving forward again. That whole problem solving process, they can develop a model that can do that by training on lots and lots of this synthetic data in the math and coding arena. And then that reasoning capability and that problem solving process is something that model can use in other areas besides just math and coding. So that's also something that is, in addition, it's a way to make the overall AI system better that's independent of just having a bigger training cluster. So there's lots of different factors that are playing in here that are making these systems just continue to advance and push the boundaries of what's possible.
So not only do you have like the race to becoming the best AI, you have the most compute in order to get the best AI, but now with the reasoning, it's learning. And so then the system that can actually learn the most fastest will then become smarter and smarter, far faster than anyone else. Like they gave the example yesterday, right? And I'm going to play a video here of where they showed the reasoning, and it's actually thinking and testing itself over and over and over again, where it can actually train. Like they only trained it on a certain couple domains, and then for some reason it was able to do all sorts of other things, even that they didn't train it on, because it learned how to think and it learned how to reason. So let's listen into the one. So they did 3 demos last night. They actually showed it, and then they physically put in a prompt, like a sentence or 2, and then seed what it did it. But this is not just an answer back, which is what we've all tested now with LLMs. You ask a question, they give you an answer. This is very complicated, building things, agentic, learning and teaching you why it's thinking, and it's retesting itself, right? So let's listen in.
So it looks like Grok finished all of its thinking on the 2 problems. So let's take a look at what it said. All right, so this was the little physics problem we had. We've collapsed the thoughts here, so they're hidden. And then we see Grok's answer below that. So it explains, it wrote a Python script here using matplotlib, then gives us all of the code. So let's take a quick look at the code. Seems like it's doing reasonable things here, not totally off the mark. Solve Kepler says here, so maybe it's solving Kepler's law numerically. There's really only one way to find out if this thing is working. I'd say let's give it a try. Let's run the code. All right, and we can see, Grok is animating 2 different planets, Earth and Mars here, and then the green ball is the vehicle that's transiting, the spacecraft that's transitioning between Earth and Mars. And you could see the journey from Earth to Mars, and looks like, indeed, the astronauts returned safely, at the right moment in time. Obviously this was just generated on the spot, so we can't tell you if that was actually correct solution. So we're going to take a closer look. Now maybe we're going to call some colleagues from at SpaceX, ask them if this is legit.
It's pretty close. There's a lot of complexities in the actual orbits that have to be taken into account, but this is pretty close to what it looks like.
Awesome.
In fact, I have that on my appendage here. This has got the Earth Mars home and transfer on it.
When are we going to install Grok on a rocket?
Well, I suppose in 2 years.
2 years? Everything is 2 years away.
Well, Earth and Mars transit occurs every 26 months. We're currently in a transit window approximately. The next one would be November of next year, roughly end of next year. And if all goes well, SpaceX will send Starship rockets to Mars, and with Optimus robots and Grok.
Mm-hmm. I'm curious what this combination of Tetris and Bejeweled looks like. Tetris, as we've named it internally. We also have an output from Grok here. It says what a Python script explains that is what it's been doing. If you look at the code, there's some constants that are being defined here, some colors. Then the tetrominos, the pieces of Tetris are there. Obviously, very hard to see and at one glance if this is good. So we gotta run this to figure out if it's working. Well, let's give it a try. Fingers crossed. All right. So this kind of looks like Tetris, but the colors are a little bit off, right? The colors are different here, and right. If you think about like, what's going on here, the jolt has this mechanic where if you get 3 jolts in a row, then they disappear, and also gravity activates, right? So what happens if you get 3 of the colors together? Okay, so something happened.
Okay, yeah. So they gave it 2 tests. One was just a simple prompt to say, show me the physics of Earth and Mars and how would the Starship drop off astronauts back and forth. And it did it, right? But it had to calculate all the physics associated with that. And then the second one was create me a game, but not just replicate an existing game. Let's create a game that's between 2 games out there, Tetris and Bejeweled, and create this new one, combine it together. So this can code, this can think, and then Elon explained, didn't he? Maybe right there that this is, let's listen to what Elon said here about why that's important.
So I think what Grok did in this version is that once you connect at least 3 blocks of the same color in a row, then gravity activates and they disappear, and then gravity activates and all the other blocks fall down. Kind of curious if there's still a Tetris mechanic here where if the line is full, does it actually clear it, or what happens then? It's up to interpretation, so who knows?
It'll do different variants when you ask it. It doesn't do the same thing every time.
Exactly. We've seen a few other Tetris that worked very differently, but this one seems cool. So, yeah.
Are we ready for Game Studio at X.AI?
Yes. So we're launching an AI gaming studio at XAI. If you're interested in joining us in building AI games, please join XAI. We're launching an AI gaming studio. We're announcing it tonight. Let's go. Epic Games. Oh, wait, that's an actual games. Yeah.
All right. So
I thought he explained it, didn't he? That this is more than just,
At one point he did, so we'll just have to share what he said. I don't remember exactly when it was, but he said that the power of the demo that they just showed you was, like you said, because they combined 2 different games, there wasn't a code library online that it basically could go look up, oh, this is how you code Tetris, or this is how you code Bejeweled, and then essentially regurgitate that answer back to you. Because it's not a form of the game that exists anywhere on the internet, it actually had to create that code, and it created it first time. And so it does have the ability to organically generate new things, all on its own, completely autonomously. So that's really cool. And obviously ChatGPT and Claude both are good at coding. We've seen these kinds of demos roughly from other AI labs. So in some sense, this is just catching up to, but also like its performance on the coding benchmarks was exceptional. I think that O3 might be slightly better than Grok 3, at least at this point. But like we said, Grok 3 is still improving. And 6 months from now, it's basically almost guaranteed that the Grok version is going to be significantly better than whatever you can use via API from OpenAI. And that is a significant multiplier for anyone who's building software, including XAI. This is a tool that they use internally to do a lot of their work. They're using it for the math that they're working on. They're using it for the coding that they're doing. And so this is a force multiplier that they have internally to help speed up the stuff that they're doing. This is also true, the Anthropic team uses Claude to do this. OpenAI uses their ChatGPT models to do this as well. But XAI now has tools that are on par with anyone else, and their tools are getting better faster. And so this accelerating nature of what they're doing and how it's going to be so much harder to catch them, it continues to show up in even more areas throughout the company.
Last week, I had a conversation with, through X with a TESLA AI team member, and he was saying that they're now implementing AI throughout the company. and implementing internal tools, internal apps. And so you can see that everything you're seeing built here is going to be used inside Tesla, inside SpaceX, inside all of their companies, and they're just going to be that much more powerful. So just a few more points here. You've got Elon saying that we're already working on the next training cluster, which will have 5 times more power. Elon said people are going to fall in love with Grok. That's 100% probable. Voice mode is still a little patchy, so probably launches in about a week, but it's awesome. And then you've had other AI executives out there, Alexander Wang, CEO of Scale, saying that they're just all getting pretty blown away with what they just showed. Lex Friedman himself got to use Grok 3 extensively. His mind is blown, very impressive model. You know, there's some things that Grok is doing better than others. They launched the AI gaming studio. So this is a whole new business that AI using this Grok can create brand new games. And guess what? Guess where this is going to show up? It's going to show up in your cars. It's going to be an entertainment center for cars, for sure. So just lots of things that they showed here. Advanced reasoning capabilities. It's got the text to video conversion. You just give it some context, text, and it'll create videos. I think Elon said that by, I don't know when, but it'll be like 15 minutes of videos by next year. Self-correction mechanism. It has the ability to think. It has the ability to check its own logic. Reduce instances of hallucinations or false info. Synthetic data training. They can train it on synthetic data sets. So, and multimodal approach, data, video, images, text, audio. Again, all of this is going to be used for even improving FSD, real-time data processing. And like we said last night or yesterday, just earlier today, that they used Megapacks to create the data center, to even out the power usage, because he said there's 100,000 computers that are all asking for data at the same time. There's spikes, and now they have 200,000. Now it's going to be more than that.
Yep.
So
this is something that I have been thinking about for quite a while. And there's a little bit of nuance to this answer, but other people who are creating these large training clusters are probably going to want to do something very similar. One of the reasons that you have these really intense spikes in electricity demand from a cluster this large is that, the whole fabric of GPUs are doing these matrix multiplication problems at the same time, and then they're all supposed to get done at roughly the same time. So, each one will start, they'll get done, and then they'll stop working as the data that's the results of the matrix multiplication operation that they just did get shared around, and the next set of operations gets planned and all that stuff, and then they go through the next cycle. And so it's these cycles of computing and then waiting, computing and then waiting. And it's going from everything computing to everything waiting. The trough in that demand is really spiky and intense and very sharp. So one of the things that some people have done to solve this problem is that they have said, well, when the GPUs are not actually computing useful information, we're just going to have them go ahead and keep computing, and they're going to compute zeros so that they continue to draw power more smoothly. That really helps. Elon, they implemented these megapacks. So the spikiness of the power it's a problem. This is how Elon has chosen to solve it. It doesn't necessarily mean that everyone who's going to build a big cluster is going to use megapacks to solve that problem specifically. They may. There could definitely be some intricacies in that are you can't just solve by having those GPUs continue to compute zeros when they're not actually doing useful work. But the other big thing is, if you want to make a big fat cluster, you're going to be drawing so much power, and the likelihood that your local utility company is going to want to deliver that power to you at peak times during the day is very low. But they have lots of excess capacity for most of the day, all night, and then even in the middle of the day. Like the 2 spikes are in the morning right before work and in the evening right after work. And so if these companies can bring in big megapack installations, and they can store extra energy when the grid is not maxed out, and actually take the whole cluster off of the power grid at those peak times, then they can probably get the power that they're asking for from the utility providers a lot easier. And so I think this is like, there's a huge case to be made that these megapacks are a big piece of accelerating everyone else's ability to build these big clusters, regardless of whether or not it has to do with solving the spiky power draw that's going into these systems. And I will say it does make that problem a lot easier too. So it has multiple forms of benefit. And so I do agree that what they're showing here, like this is a technology demonstration program that is going to dramatically increase the demand for megapacks. And then obviously, megapack is a very nicely profitable business for Tesla.
Well, that's what I was going to say. Amazon was an e-commerce business, is an e-commerce business, and then they launched AWS because they needed their data center for them, for their own business, and then they started selling that AWS to lots of companies. Imagine if Tesla does the same thing, right? They built these data centers because they need it for FSD, they need it for XAI. Now they start selling the megapacks plus data center capabilities to countries, cities, companies, and say, hey, you want a data center? We can help build it for you. I don't know if they're going to get into it. Depends on how lucrative this is, but could be a very big business. It's like megapacks is no longer just a battery. It's like a whole system, right?
And at the bare minimum, XAI can continue to do this with Tesla to continue to grow their overall cluster sizes, even when other people can't, won't, whatever. So XAI is basically unbound by power constraints in their growth.
Keep an eye out with Joe Tegmeyer, guys. He shared something with me earlier today. What's happening in near Giga, Texas? Go check him out. There's something very big that he might have discovered. So we'll see about that. I'll leave it there because I'm not sure I'm allowed to talk about it quite yet. So this is a big deal. What you're seeing here is XAI, and you see the team here and how the super speed that they were able to do it, the scale. They are arguably the largest supercomputers in the world, the largest, and how fast they're building the next largest and the next largest and the next largest, to the point that it's impossible for others to catch up because these guys are just always getting. So by the time that other companies catch up to what they have now with 100,000, they're off. They already built the 200,000 and they're off to making the 5 times bigger. This is going to be applied to the cars, to the bots, and everything else. Tesla, energy, the whole company. I think we're about to see I can't wait to communicate to my Tesla. I just can't wait. It's going to be more than just a conversation. It's more than just to open the trunk. This is going to be changing the nature of what this thing is. It's a living, breathing thing. Like, not a thing. I don't know what to call it. Companion. Entertaining me, knowing me, right? They give one example, right, where the guy's name's Igor, and the bot said Igor or something like that. And it was like, no, please call me Igor. My name's Igor. And then the bot learned and it knows. And so from now on, it knows to do that. It's not just reading the words because that's how it's spelled. It's like you taught it how to pronounce it. That's different. Not just reading what the spelling is. It's like, this is going to be personalized.
There's a lot of really cool details that we didn't get into, but I do want to just highlight the thing that you said a moment ago that is one of the major implications of this. And that is the bot, that having a much higher quality level of base intelligence will make training Optimus robots and delivering a high quality product and service. Like the overlap between how this is going to help humanoid robot development is massive. And it's going to make the Tesla Optimus bot come faster, and it's going to be better when it arrives. And so that in and of itself, like, that's the biggest business unit for Tesla over the next 5, 10, 15 years. And this is something that will accelerate and improve that already going to be massive business unit.
Yeah, a bot using vision, understanding the context of what they're seeing. So if I see, I don't know, if I see milk and I see a bowl, I might go, where's the cereal? Let me see if I, like you'll understand the context of what's happening much faster. It's going to be amazing. So again, the way I introduced this was Tesla now has the best AI in the world with its partnership with xAI. It has the best self-driving system in the world. It has the best human or robot in the world. And it has a speed of innovation that's faster than anyone else. So you combine all this together and it just becomes amazing. So thank you so much, Hans. I appreciate you explaining what we saw last night and how important it is. Follow Hans on his X channel and his YouTube channel, Hans C. Nelson. Thanks, Hans. Bye. I've created a website that is the most comprehensive resource for the Tesla investor. Please check it out. Simply go to my website at herbertong.com.